Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Cozy Des, and people always ask me, especially when they see a clip of mine kind of pop off on Twitter or TikTok, who are my Sims? Like, where can they watch the full story? And I started realizing, although you can find it on TikTok in parts, I wanted to put it somewhere where I could always direct somebody to go to. I saw Kimmy do this on her page, and I thought it was such a brilliant idea to have a one-stop shop where people can kind of fall in love with my Sims. So if this is your first time meeting them, welcome. There's a lot to dive into. If you've seen them on socials and things like that, welcome again. I hope that this answers any questions you have or gives you a little bit more insight on who my characters are. I won't hold you any longer. I did want to preference two things. One, this is going to be a longer video, and a lot of the footage that I'm using is when I was trying to figure out G-shade and filters and things like that. So it may not look cohesive all the way through. So apologies for that. And then the second thing is this is an ensemble cast. I have quite a few Sims that are integral to the story. So we're not just going to go over Akira and Eva or even David and Serena, although they will be in there. This is going to just kind of cover all of them. So welcome to my little mini universe, and I hope you enjoy the story. Eva grew up in Brindleton Bay as the only child to Ollie and Caitlin Valera. Caitlin was a former tennis star who, due to an injury, switched her career to veterinary medicine, thus running the most successful veterinarian clinic in the state. Her father was a professor at Brindleton Bay University for more than 15 years. Eva grew up a rather quiet and reserved life. She knew from a young age that this is not what she wanted. She wanted to leave her sleepy town to do something bigger and greater, and she knew from the jump that she wanted to be a movie star. Now let's talk about Eva's personality for a little bit. So when I first started playing with Eva, she was 23 years old. She's 25 now. Her traits include love bug, childish, naive, and ambitious. Her career goals are to become a famous actress, and I think this is where her ambitious trait really shines through. She's been casted in some Simflix shows along with some musicals, and now she's about to star in Spider-Woman. So I'm very excited to see where her career takes her. She likes dogs, dancing, movies, of course, and skating. Skating to her is like a sense of relief. She was going to be a figure skater if the movie stuff didn't work out. And so sometimes you'll catch her at her local rink, just letting off steam and having a good time. She just likes rock music, and that's because her dad would drag her to these like crappy cover bands that would pop through Brindleton Bay sometimes. And so I don't think she doesn't like rock music. She just doesn't like cover bands. She doesn't like being deceived or lied to. And she just hates being cold, which, same girl. I feel you. And she is a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan. Juno is currently her favorite song. And I don't think she's listened to the latest album yet, but if she was going to, she would probably love it. When Eva moved to San Bernardino for college, she ended up meeting her best friend and soulmate, Naomi Fang. Naomi loved how new everything was to Eva, and Eva just thought Naomi was like the coolest person ever, kind of like a Hachi and Nana type of vibe, and they became more like sisters than best friends. I think this is a perfect opportunity to introduce Naomi and her family. So we have Lily Fang, who is the mother, then you have Akira, who is the youngest sibling, then you have Victor, who is their dad and basically the leader of the clan. Then you have Kenny, who is the second oldest, and then Naomi, who is the eldest child. She's family oriented, very, very loyal. She's a party animal and a perfectionist. She likes parties, coffee, and oranges, and then she dislikes cats, being bossed around, and mushrooms. And her favorite song currently is Tomorrow Too by Cardi B and Glorilla. Since Naomi was little, she knew her family was different. She soon found out that they were the most powerful Simkuza family in all of Mount Kuromi. If you don't know what Simkuza is, it's part of Base Mental's gang mod. It's just a version of Yakuza. And basically, her family was that family. They owned several businesses, not all legal, and her dad becoming mayor of San Myshuno was no coincidence. She also knew that since she was the oldest, she was going to have to lead the clan one day, and she didn't want that responsibility to stop her from having fun or living her life. So she would often throw parties and gather intel from celebrities, and that's really why she loved having Eva around, because she didn't know any of it. It was just a complete mystery to her. Honestly, Eva just thought her best friend was rich. So one night at one of Naomi's famous Halloween parties, she runs into this mysterious girl named Amber. Amber and Naomi had some flirty back and forths, but Naomi didn't really think too much about it because, well, she flirts with a lot of people. But then at her family's grand opening of their new nightclub, she runs into Amber again. And from there, sparks really flew. And you could just tell that there was something special between the both of them. Amber took life a lot more chill and lax versus Naomi, who's more on the serious side because she's always had responsibility put on her. So naturally, they started dating and things were going really, really well, except for the fact that both of them were hiding some really big secrets from each other. Naomi was hiding the fact that her family was a crime family, right? And Amber was hiding the fact that she had a daughter. So Amber used to date this guy. He was really abusive. He wanted to be like a famous comedian, and he was just horrible to her. And he basically caused her family to disown her, except for her sister, who she loves dearly and has helped her through all of this. But one day she basically packed up her stuff, took her daughter Maria, and moved to San Myshuno in this like tiny little apartment. And she was kind of afraid to bring this up to Naomi because she didn't know how Naomi would react. And basically one day they had a very serious conversation after Naomi went over her house and noticed all the baby stuff and was like, "Do you have a child?" And it was a whole thing. So they're together though. They're happy. Naomi and Amber are married. And actually, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that they decided to have their own child. Yay! So they're currently building their own family, and Naomi loves Maria, and it's just happy vibes all around. Moving on to my problematic fave, you have Kenny Fang. He is 26 years old. His traits are unfaithful, flirty, forbidden lover, and then his career is the Simkuza right hand man. He likes party favors. He also likes partying, gossiping, and then his dislikes include being hungover, pickles, and snakes. So when it came to Kenny, he never made it easy for his parents or any authority figure in his life. He was always that kid that had to cause a ruckus, be the loudest in the room. I like to say that he has classic middle child syndrome. He wants the attention on him all the time whenever he can get it. And I think after the fourth or fifth rehab center that his parents put him in, he decided he wanted to kind of change a new leaf. And he still wanted to be the center of attention, but instead he decided he was going to flip it on to his partners. So Kenny has the forbidden lover trait, and that just means he loves being with people that he can't openly be with, I guess. So, like people in relationships. He's Mr. Steal Your Girl or boy. He doesn't really have a preference on who he dates. He just likes the fact that he can have multiple partners at one time. And he just loves to be the center of all of their worlds. He's found that to be the best way that he likes to live his life. And that's how things were until he met Diana Valentine. So Kenny's best friend Josh was stationed out in Tartosa, and that's where he ended up meeting his fiance Diana Valentine. And they ended up moving back to essentially San Myshuno because they wanted to help Diana with her DJ career. So of course, moving back to his hometown, Josh decided he wanted to hit up his friend Kenny, and they kind of reconnected. And of course, that's when he ended up meeting Diana. Diana and Kenny had this weird tension between the two of them for a while. And Kenny just knew he had to have Diana. There was no other girl, no other person that he wanted more than Diana. And Diana was at first playing hard to get, but later down the line, like they just started connecting. It was Naomi's birthday, and Josh had to go back to Tartosa for like, I think boot camp or something. So he was gone for a couple of months. She was really lonely. Kenny invited her to Naomi's birthday trip. And from there, they basically hooked up. And then they were seeing each other a while Josh was away. And then when Josh came back, they obviously kind of chilled out a little bit. And then Diana found out that she was pregnant and she couldn't keep it, obviously, because hello. So it was a messy situation. They ended up parting ways for a while, and Diana kept planning her wedding with Josh. And then at the wedding, Kenny ended up talking to Diana and basically confessing his love for her. And she just felt so wrapped up in the emotion of all that, she decided to continue the relationship with Kenny, break up with Josh at the altar. It was so messy. And right now, Diana has been living with Kenny, and Kenny hasn't really strayed out of the relationship that much. But I have seen him flirting with a couple of other people in games. So I'm very interested to see if they're going to have an open relationship or like how Diana's feeling about it. I haven't been able to check, but Diana Valentine, Kenny, they're dating. And right now they're just really smitten with each other. Now we move on to the youngest Fang sibling, Akira. So Akira's 24 years old. He's a lover boy. He's jealous, self-assured, and nerdy. His career is a Simkuza enforcer. He likes Eva, the anime, and fighting. He dislikes bugs, avocados, and being stuck in traffic. Because he's an enforcer, he has to go around to a lot of different people in the business, fight a lot of people, intimidate a lot of people. So he's always in the car. So being stuck in traffic for him is like the worst possible thing. And his current favorite song right now is Luther by Kendrick Lamar. Even though Akira is the youngest sibling in his family, he has long outgrown the shadow of being the little brother. Despite his age, he carries a very commanding presence, and that's basically been shaped to his involvement with the dangerous world of being in the Simkuza and the fact that he is the enforcer. Like I mentioned before, he's the one that will shake down people. He's the one that will be fighting people somewhere. He's the one that will confront people. He does not care who it is. It's on site with Akira whenever he's on a job or when he has to get something done. He always tries to impress his father, which he's done, but I think that definitely has led him to be a little bit arrogant and hot-headed at times. Even though his life is steeped in crime and violence, Akira possesses a softer side. He likes anime and gardening, and sometimes you'll see him watch reality TV with Eva. Like, he's really a softie. And as they started dating, he started to kind of peel back the layers a little bit and add more of those things that he likes into his everyday life and doesn't feel the need to hide them as much as he used to. I think I made about like 2 sim videos about how Eva and Akira got together, but for the video's sake, I'm just going to walk you through their love story. So Eva didn't think much of Akira beyond being Naomi's little brother, but as time passed on, their brief interactions kind of left a mark on her. There was moments where his gaze would linger just a little too long, or his voice would soften when he was speaking to her, and Eva couldn't deny her growing attraction to him, even though she knew it was risky because Naomi probably wouldn't like her dating her little brother. Then one night she had an intense dream about Akira that led her wanting to learn more about him. Unbeknownst to Eva, Akira felt the same way. He admired her determination to become an actress, and she was so warm and kind, which was kind of different from the cold, ruthless world that he constantly found himself in. So one night, Naomi threw one of her famous parties, and it was a pool party. And although Eva tried to come up with an excuse not to go, Naomi refused to take no for an answer, which she often does. Knowing that she would bump into Akira, she was really nervous. Eva didn't really know what to do. What was she going to say to him? Especially this is after her dream, so she was really anxious and completely forgot her bathing suit. When she showed up to the party, Naomi told her to just go to her bedroom and grab a bathing suit. Even though Eva has been to their house a bunch of times, it was still really big and she kind of got lost and stumbled into Akira's room. And their interaction was really sweet. The temptation and the tension was there, and they ended up making out. And it kind of was history from there. They ended up meeting up at the club and random rendezvous. They were just always hiding and just trying to get to see each other whenever they could. And of course, Naomi is supposed to be the head of the household one day, so things don't just slide past her. So Naomi ended up asking Kenny to basically follow Akira around and find out where he's going because she was tired of having to cover for him when it came to their dad. And when I tell you, she was very angry to find out that her little brother was dating her best friend behind her back. It became a big fight between the siblings, but after some convincing, and of course, Naomi went to Kenny to talk to him about it, they decided it was best to bring Eva in on the secret. So Naomi wouldn't mind bringing her in, but she was just scared because she knew if Eva ever told anybody, like law enforcement or anything, about their family secret, she would have to take her out, and that would be heartbreaking for her. Eva is literally her best friend in the whole world. Like, that's like her sister. So it was a lot to think about. And after a very serious conversation in a karaoke room, Eva decided that she was going to keep their secret forever. And basically, she's now a part of the inner circle of the Fang clan. And from then on, Akira and Eva have been going strong for a couple of years now, I think 3 years. They have had their issues. Akira has a jealous streak. He doesn't really like to see Eva with any other guy, really, especially when it comes to her co stars. Eva has been in tabloids before, rumors about her dating her co stars, which obviously were not true. But when Akira gets a look into it, he gets really anxious and he immediately kind of flies off the handle. And she's forgiven him twice for two really big issues. The latest one, he just showed up to the actor's house unannounced, which was crazy. So he don't play about her and she really don't play about him either. Like, there was a situation where his ex-girlfriend who broke his heart kind of tried to get back into the picture. It was a lot of back and forth between her and Eva was not letting her man go. And as of recently, Akira and Eva got engaged. On his birthday, he ended up flying both of them out to Tartosa and set up this beautiful engagement. And yeah, they're together now. So now that you know who everyone is and how everyone got together, I want to give you guys some quick life updates as far as some major things that has happened in the story. So Victor Fang, the family pillar, was a casualty in a gang meetup. So he was having a sit down conversation with another leader, and the leader ended up taking him out on a hit. And Naomi is now the leader of the clan. They ended up having his funeral at Mount Karomi, and that's where Eva and Akira ended up meeting their dog, Kanno. So he ended up essentially bumping into Eva on like a walk, and she just knew that she had to have this dog. Like, he was so sweet, and they just really hit it off. Like, Eva called him her spirit animal, and from there on, like, some strings were pulled, and Akira ended up bringing him back to the States for her. So that's their dog, Kanno. Eva ended up finding out that her dad ended up having an affair on her mom. And the way she found that out was by her two siblings, Serena and RJ, showing up to their dad's door and basically confronting him and wanting to get to know him. It was like a bomb that dropped in their family because even Caitlin, Eva's mom, didn't know about the affair. It was shocking and hurtful. It was just a crazy whirlwind of emotions. Eva to this day is still not close with her dad. And I'll now go into Serena and RJ. So Serena and RJ, like I mentioned, are Eva's half siblings. They are both going to San Myshuno University. Serena is outgoing, charming, an activist, and an art lover. She is the captain of her dance team and cheer team and hopes to become an art buyer one day and hopefully in the future open her own art gallery. She has always had a knack for finding unique art pieces and currently has an internship with a very famous art collector. Serena and Eva have gotten really close and are basically trying to make up for lost time. RJ is a music lover, a geek, and he's creatively gifted. He has always loved music since he was a little kid, and he's able to play a bunch of instruments, including the piano and the saxophone. RJ loves hanging out with his close groups of friends, and he's still really awkward around Eva, but he's trying to get to know her better. RJ and Serena live with Yutu, who recently started dating RJ. They all met during freshman year and got really, really close. RJ and Yutu basically hid their feelings from each other for a while until it was a crazy weekend at Coachella, and that basically changed everything, and they've been going strong ever since. Then there's Brooklyn, who's Serena's bestie. She's also on the cheer team and has gotten into a relationship with Carson after things didn't work out between her and David. And now we are going to talk about David. So David is essentially Serena's kryptonite. He is flirty, ambitious, creative, and non-committal. He is a really talented artist. He is also really good at tattoos. He wants to hopefully become a tattooer and open his own tattoo shop one day. And when it comes to Serena and David, they have always been drawn to each other. They actually hated each other when they first met. Like, it was always bickering between the two of them. And then Brooklyn, Serena's bestie, ended up having a crush on him. So they decided to kind of put their feelings aside of hatred and just become cordial. David realized that he started to find Serena really attractive. He thought she was really interesting and a lot more interesting than her best friend, Brooklyn. But then Brooklyn started noticing that David would always just stare off at Serena, and she just noticed that he wasn't looking at her the same way. So during that weekend at Coachella, when I tell you so much happened, they ended up breaking up, Brooklyn and David. Terrence ended up cheating on Serena, and David knew about it, but he didn't tell Serena, and it was this whole thing. And basically, Serena ended up breaking it off with Terrence, but Serena and David decided to stay friends. And there was one moment where Serena noticed that David painted a picture of her, and she was just so caught up in how sweet it was. And they ended up kissing, but then nothing ended up coming from it. Even Brooklyn had confronted David and was like, "You should just tell Serena how you really feel." And he was essentially scared to do so. He didn't think that she would feel the same way, obviously, because she hated him for the better half of their entire relationship. So right now they are in this push and pull. And that's where Rory comes in. So Rory is the typical boy next door. He's so sweet, literally bumping into Serena on their way to class, and they got really close really fast, very smitten. He really liked Serena. He thought she was the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. They started talking. He took her on a really romantic date to the skate park, and he brings out the childish side of Serena that she thought wasn't really there anymore. And so as they've been dating and things like that, and David also got his own girlfriend, by the way, Serena has been trying to take Rory a little bit more seriously, and they ended up becoming boyfriend girlfriend. But David just wasn't going to back down, especially because he didn't think Rory was essentially what she needed. He always knew that there was something more that Serena needed in a partner, and he's been really flirting hard with her, really trying to lay it on thick. And I will say, in the most recent play that I've been doing, and if you follow me on Twitter, you will see that him and Serena basically hooked up behind Rory's back, and I haven't even really dove into what's going to happen next between them two. So this is the section where I talk about reoccurring characters that are still being fleshed out, but you will see them pop up time to time. So there's Amaya, who is Eva's niece, who's really her cousin, but she calls her niece. And you'll see Eva and Akira babysit Amaya from time to time. Amaya and Akira are so cute, like they're besties. And it just gives me that family gameplay, like a look into their future. And I love it. I love her. She's so sweet. Then there's Rue and Liam. So Rue is actually Akira's best friend from Mount Karomi, and then Liam is just Akira's homeboy that he met out here in San Bernardino. And the three of them have been hanging out a lot recently. Rue is actually in the Simkuza gang as well. So you'll often see Rue and Akira go on missions together now that he's in the States. And yeah, they've just been having bro time, I guess. And then there's Brittany and Paige. Brittany is Eva's manager slash agent. She's the one who's been booking her all these deals. So you'll often see her at red carpet events with her and in business rooms. And Paige is just Eva's assistant. Fun fact that Brittany is actually Paige's aunt, and she brought her on to be Eva's assistant because she knew like her niece needed a job and this would be a great opportunity for her. This concludes the Simkuza love story and university lore video. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you wanted to know so much about my Sims and you watched it all the way through. If you have any questions or want to chat about them, hit me up at Cozy Des on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I would love to talk to you about them. Or if you just want to follow along with where they're at now and their journey, you can find all the updates there. I'll also be thinking about posting more on my Patreon and on my YouTube. So if that interests you, please subscribe and I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay safe out there.